Hi, Rob from FeiyuTech here, and today I am comparing the SJcam SJ5000x Elite and the Gitup Git2 Pro. These are two budget action cameras that have good video quality at a cheap price. In their individual reviews, I gave each camera a 3.5 and a 4 out of 5 rating respectively, but the Gitup tends to edge out the SJcam in most categories. In daylight, video performance is very close. The SJcam has slightly more detail to the video and its 60 frames per second is smoother, but that's something you won't really notice unless it was pointed out to you. Colors are a bit brighter too, but they sometimes bleed into being too saturated and fake looking. The Gitup does a better job of handling exposure overall, and though it is darker, it means that less highlights are lost and there is more room for post-processing. Both cameras handle the transition from light to dark just fine. Each camera has its strengths and weaknesses, and one isn't strictly better than the other, but I do find myself preferring working with the Gitup video most of the time even though it is initially darker. The Gitup video has a wider angle, better dynamic range, and is less jittery due to the better stabilization. More on that in a bit. When it is overcast and fading light, both cameras are okay. They both tend to smear frames together and have slightly wonky white balance. The SJcam wins in overcast, as the brighter default color means everything just looks a little bit nicer. At night, neither camera is fantastic, but the Gitup wins overall. The video is brighter and the white balance is significantly better. It manages to handle darker locations at the expense of a little bit of video noise. Details do get smudged and blurred with noise reduction, but the video is still pretty usable. If you're watching this video to determine which camera would make a better dash cam, the Gitup is the better choice just because it is a little bit brighter at night. On the negative side of things, both cameras have significant issues with detail being lost in video compression. This is so disappointing that such great cameras don't have any options for setting video bitrate, but both manufacturers say they are working on it for future firmware updates. Also, I'd avoid using the WDR mode on both cameras as it does smudge up the video quality something fierce. In terms of audio, the Gitup is clear both in and out of the case. A recent firmware fix improved the SJcam, but is still a little bit more muffled. Neither is particularly good, but what else can you expect when they're wrapped in thick plastic? In terms of image stabilization, there is literally no competition. The Gitup hits a home run here. Comparing the videos, I can't even believe they were shot at the same time. As you can see in this video, I'm bouncing over bumps and rocking back and forth. The SJcam is pretty effective in cancelling this out, but the Gitup is just so much better. This is a major selling point for the Gitup over the SJcam and largely the reason it got a 4 out of 5 instead of a 3.5. If you're on the fence about the two, I would recommend the Gitup just because of how much better the stabilization is. Also, as a huge downside to the SJcam, it crops in significantly more when you use stabilization, and that kinda ruins the nice wide angle. So it might be a bit odd to compare still image quality on cameras that are primarily used for video, but the still image quality gives a good idea of the imaging sensor inside the camera. In daylight, the results are as expected. The SJcam defaults to a brighter image at the expense of highlights, and the Gitup has better overall balance. But when you look closer at the images, you'll notice that the SJcam photos often appear smudged and smeared like a child drew them in crayons. This is especially true in low light, where the Gitup holds far better detail. I'm not sure if that's a result of the sensor or the processing. When it's pitch black out, no camera takes a very good image, and you'd be better off using your cell phone. Battery life is largely the same, give or take a few minutes. I filmed for about an hour and a half each day and still had a little bit left. Both cameras tend to turn off without warning, however, so if you're at half or even low battery, I suggest charging it every time before you go out. In terms of the device itself, the SJcam is better built overall. The screen is significantly higher quality with a bigger size, better resolution, color, and viewing angles, and that just makes the camera so much nicer to use. The extra buttons on the SJcam make the user interface easier to navigate as they act as up or down in lists. That way, if you accidentally scroll past the setting you wanted, you don't need to cycle through everything again. I also prefer the accessories included with the SJcam. There's just so much more included and they're a little bit better designed. Overall, the winner is the Gitup Git2 Pro, but to be honest, the differences between the two cameras aren't all that great, and you'd probably be happy either way. The SJcam is a good device too, but it has some flaws that need to be worked out, especially with the gyro stabilization and still image quality. If you want to learn more about these cameras individually or see their sample footage in full screen, Please look below at the video description for links to the individual reviews. Thank you for watching.